Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Echo FM. My name is Monicah Kariuki. The Texas House of Representatives is the lower house of the bicameral Texas legislature. It consists of 150 who are elected from single-member district for 2-year term. As of 2010 census, each member represents about 637 people. The leader of the House is the Speaker. And today I introduce a guest, Ray Ash, who is running for Texas House of Representative District 89. Mr. Ash, if you can just tell us why you are running, why you chose to run, and why District 89.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Ray Ash. I am running for House District 89, and I actually live in House District 89, which is pretty much Collin County. I'm a resident, 20-year resident of Collin County, so that's why I'm running for 89. But the reason that I chose to run for public office is because Big Daddy had a vision.
Who's Big Daddy?
And Big Daddy is my grandfather.
Okay.
When I was probably 5 or 6 years old, I used to go visit him in Texas, Trinity. And so when I was about 5 or 6 years old, he had a vision for me, and he looked at me, he says, "Bad man," he says, "one of these days you're going to be up there in Austin with the rest of them rascals," all right? Yeah, and so, like, you know, he called all the politicians rascals. He said, "Yes, you're going to be up there with them other rascals."
Yes.
So anyway, he had that vision, and, you know, so now I'm fulfilling it. But also there are people that I have a certain passion for. School teachers is one of them.
Okay.
And my mother was a school teacher for many years, and so I have a passion for the plight of the school teacher in Texas, which is not very good. And so those are the main reasons that I got into the game. All right.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now that you talked about school teachers, let's go right into it and talk about then gun violence and safety in schools. I want to ask you, well, first let me say that we do offer our thoughts and prayers to every family that has been affected by gun violence. But other than just us saying that we offer our prayers, our thoughts, what else can we do, or what can you do if elected to have those family feels like the government is doing something, or they are involved in stopping more gun violence?
One thing. Very simple thing. It's a very simple thing, and yet it seems to be a hard thing to do.
Oh, what's that?
VOTE, vote. Okay. That's it. Vote.
Just vote.
Just vote.
But what will you do, though?
Vote.
Once we have voted for you.
Once we vote for me?
Once everybody has voted for you, or whoever is going to vote for you, then what are you going to do to stop gun violence?
I'm going to do all I can to keep the NRA out of commission, all right? Just because the NRA is really the agent of the gun manufacturers, all right? And as long as they are able to manipulate certain politicians, not all politicians, but as long as they're able to manipulate certain politicians, they're going to get their way. And their way is quite simply gun sales, all right? They just want to sell more guns, simple as that. And and let me say this, I am a veteran. I'm an Army veteran. Okay. So I don't have a problem with guns per se, right. All right? But there are certain weapons that are just weapons of mass destruction, and they do not belong in the hands. All right. So.
Okay. All right then. Well, recently I had a show on my radio, Echo FM, and one of the people that I had as a guest is a teacher. And you said you're all for teachers, and she actually brought a concern that only a teacher would probably think about. It has been brought up that maybe we need to arm teachers, and we know that we have sent, teachers become teachers only because they wanted to teach, not necessarily to come and also provide security. Something that she brought up, and Jeanette, if you are watching, this is your question. She said that as a teacher, she has developed a relationship, teacher-student relationship with the students. And so if you ask her as a teacher to shoot a child that has a gun, she couldn't bring herself to do that, because this is a child that she has loved as a teacher. And so how does she turn around to shoot that child, even though she knows that she's probably in danger? She is the kind of teacher that will probably stand in front of the rest of the kids to take a bullet for them. So how do we turn a teacher like that to being armed?
Well, the answer is you can't. That's the simple answer.
Exactly.
Teachers are not. See, a school shooting, and there's been too many of them. We know that, but in every single one of them, there's a similar pattern. Whenever it happens so fast that nobody can react.
Exactly.
Teacher, they had a security guard who ran out the building. One of these, I think it was down in Florida. I'm not sure, but one of those schools where the shooting happened, the security guard actually ran out. So he's a security guard with a gun, and he ran away.
Right.
So how you can't expect a teacher to react like that, and like a professional would.
Exactly.
Teachers are not security guards. They're not supposed to react to that kind of stuff. And besides, they're teachers. They're not getting paid to be security guards. They're being paid to teach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then, as an elected official, how are you going to make that our schools are safe?
Number one, like I said, it starts with the access to the weapons. All right, every one of those school shootings, there was a weapon that was a weapon of mass destruction. I would eliminate the access to those weapons. All right, and how you do that? Real simple. The background checks that they have today are not adequate. All right, they're a joke. Anybody, like people who have criminal records, like boyfriends who beat up their girlfriends, all right? Husbands who beat up their wife, they can go get a gun, all right? That shouldn't happen. That stuff shouldn't happen.
Right.
But guns are just too easily obtained nowadays, that's all. So when you do a background check, do it right. Do it thoroughly, all right? And, if you're cool, by cool I mean if you're law-abiding and you don't have those kind of tendencies, well, we'll find that out.
Yes. And by that you mean if your background is clean?
It's clean, yeah. If you got a clean background and you don't have mental issues, all right, then okay, go get your gun, But at least, jump through the hoops and take the steps that it takes so we can be sure that you're not going to be a threat. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now that you just touched onto mental issue, so then let me ask you, would you as an elected official be opposed to anybody that wants to acquire a gun going through mental evaluation?
Opposed to them going? No. Okay. No, they should go. No. They should go through mental evaluation. Yes. I mean, that's part of the process. And see, it's like this. I believe that access to firearms, when you do a background check for access to firearms, there should be it should be commensurate to the dangerous nature of the firearm that you want to obtain. Yeah. All right, now let me say that another way. That might have been a little confusing, but here's what I'm trying to say. If you wanted to get a shotgun, all right, or maybe a hunting rifle, all right, well then, a simple driver's license, and we will make sure that your address checks out and you don't have a criminal record. That'll take about a couple hours. You see what I'm saying? That's all you need for that. But now if you want to acquire an AR-15 or an AK-47, well, we're going to check you out a little more thoroughly. You see what I'm saying? Right. That background check might take several days. But so what? I mean, when you consider what children's lives and human lives, what's a couple days to wait? Right. You see? Right. So, the amount and the intensity of the background check should be commensurate to the danger of the weapon that you're trying to obtain. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Don't you think that there should just be a blanket policy for everybody that wants to get a gun? Because even if a pistol has 5 bullets, it still might be 1 or 2 lives taken. Can't everybody just go through the same background check and mental evaluation?
No. I am an Army veteran, all right?
Yes.
I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. Okay. I do support it. This is Texas, You got to remember, I'm in Texas. I'm running for office in Texas, and I'm a native Texan. So when you put all that in the mix, I'd say no. I wouldn't want. I personally would not want to see all those tests just to go out and get a pistol. I wouldn't want to see it. No. I believe that the Second Amendment is there for a good reason, and as long as we use it sensibly, all right, then it's okay. So no, for a pistol or shotgun, I would not want that many background. Just enough. Let's identify who you are. Let's make sure you don't have a criminal record, and that should be enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, I know in Texas, Texas is open carry already, right?
It is. It's open carry ever since, I believe, January of 2016, I think they started it. So, yeah, it's open carry. But there are restrictions. I mean, you can't take it into court. You can't take it into church, a school. See, you can't take it there. But there are certain restrictions. But other than that, yeah, it's open carry, Yeah.
All right. If we can just jump into mental health issues, teen depression, suicide, especially among teens, it has become, today it has just become an endemic. What would you do as an elected official to address that?
Teen depression. Teen depression, high school kids, usually of that age, it's probably too late. What I would do, I would start with the middle schools. That's when it starts. It starts with the middle schools. If you don't catch it until they get to high school, it's kind of too late. You got to go to the middle schools. You got to deal with them, and a lot of that stuff happens because of bullying.
Yes.
It starts with bullying and ostracizing other students who, for whatever reason, aren't like you. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they're not jocks. They're not big time football players, and they just want to study. So you ostracize those students. See what I'm saying? And you bully them. Well, then they start to get depressed, and so you need to focus on the bullying and the ostracizing of the students. And whatever student is guilty of doing that kind of stuff, you need to deal with that student. All right. Texas has bullying laws. I mean, I think they call it David's Law, and they probably call it that because some child named David probably suffered something because of bullying. But anyway, they do have bullying laws that people need to enforce, basically. The schools need to enforce them. All right? Okay.
Okay. Let's jump into immigration.
Yes.
We've seen, what's happening in the southern border. Separation of the mothers, children from their mothers. And right now they are scattered all over. I don't know. I saw on TV that some of them have been taken to New York. So what is your stand on that policy, immigration policy?
We're a country of laws, all right? But you got to remember, this country started with the Statue of Liberty, all right? Well, didn't really start then, but anyway, that was supposed to be what we hold up as a beacon to the whole world, the Statue of Liberty, all right? And we open our arms, and we are an inclusive country, all right? But still, you got to follow certain rules. You can't just come across the border at will. So that is breaking the law. And as a former prosecutor, I would say those people, you got to prosecute them. Now, whatever that means, but you got to prosecute them. However, having said that, there's a civil and humane way to do that, all right? And I am the great-grandson of a slave. My grandfather's father was a slave, see? And so I remember talking with my grandfather and my mother about how their families were separated, all right? And I know the pain that they expressed when they were telling me these kind of things. So I don't like seeing, it's not right to separate families. It's just not right, all right? You got to find a better way to do that. So yes, you want to prosecute the transgression across the borders, but you got to get maybe child protective services involved. You got to involve interpreters, Department of Human Services, whatever you got to do, but you got to do it because it's the right thing to do, all right?
So the other day, the president signed an executive order to stop it. So basically, he was stopping something that he started. Did he really need an executive order to stop it?
No, you got to remember who our president is. All right, he's a very theatrical person. All right, he believes in the showmanship of it all. All right, he could have stopped all that with a phone call. He could have picked up the phone and says, "Hey Jeff, Jeff Sessions, hey Jeff, we're going to stop this mess right now."
Yes.
All right, he could have done that, but he got everybody in a big room, so he could hold up his executive order like that, and because he's all about the theatrics of it all. So the answer is no, he didn't have to sign that order. Yeah.
Okay. So then, just because all Americans want safety, on the border, how do we separate children, mothers and children, from criminals who've been deported back to Mexico and trying to re-enter, or just deported, let's just say have been deported, but now they're trying to re-enter? How do we separate criminals and mothers and children and not prosecute them the same way?
Well, children have to stay with the mother. They have to stay with one custodial parent. It doesn't always have to be the mother, but usually it is. The maternal instinct is strong, that. But they should stay with one custodial parent. I don't care what's going on. I don't care. You got to figure it out. And this is the United States of America. We have resources that no other country has. All right, we can figure this out. It ain't rocket science. All right, we can figure this out. And so you figure it out in a way that the child stays with one custodial parent at all times.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. Do you want to mention to us or to anybody that's viewing today other issues that you are running on so that they can, probably consider voting for you as a candidate?
Well, I like my teachers. That's my, bread and butter issues. My teachers, and the state of Texas is kind of in the last several years has kind of kicked the teachers to the curb. All right. As far as their protecting their pension plans, as far as their making their health care affordable, which is now it's very unaffordable, okay, for teachers. And I want to see that change. Now, ever since 2009, just to give you a couple statistics here, ever since 2009, the state of Texas, which is mandated to fund public schools, all right, it's in the Constitution. They're supposed to do that. But ever since 2009, that funding has had a steadily decline, all right? And so I would raise that back up, put it back up to where it used to be. You see what I'm saying? And, because here's what happens. When that funding goes down, number one, you don't get the classroom support. Teachers have to go into their own pockets and buy their supplies. They shouldn't have to do that. Right. Number two, their salaries aren't competitive to other states, all right? So you lose good teachers, you know what I'm saying? And by not contributing to the school budget, what happens is the schools raise your school taxes. If you ever look at your tax bill, if you own a home, if anybody owns a home, you look at your tax bill, the major portion, probably 70% of your tax bill, is school taxes. And that's because the legislature are not giving them the money that they should have given them in the first place. Because if they fund them with the proper amount of money, then they don't have to get it from you, the homeowner. Right. All right? So other issues that I'm real big on would be infrastructure for the east side of I guess, east of 75. I guess I call it the other side of the tracks. Okay. Most of the development is going on the west side. You look at Frito-Lay, you look at Toyota, Chase, stuff like that. It's on the west side. Well, I would like to see some of that, more of that come over to my side of the tracks, all right? District 89. But at the same time, with careful attention being paid to infrastructure, all right? I live in Murphy, FM 544 every morning and every evening coming back is a mess, straight up and down mess. So yeah, we want a lot more of that economic development over there on the west side, but also pay close attention to the infrastructure that it's going to take to manage it. Okay? All right.
Alrighty. sometimes there are things that we take for granted because we know it and it's so obvious to us, and we don't think that other people could probably benefit from a little bit more information. My teacher used to tell me that there is no stupid question. So just so that your constituents, your counties would know where they belong. What is District 89? What does it consist of? I know it's Allen, Plano. Can you just?
It's 10 cities. I don't know if I can remember them all, but let me try. Let's see. We got Allen. We have the eastern side of Plano. We have Murphy, Wally, Lavon, Princeton, Farmersville. Who did I miss? I know I missed somebody.
Okay.
It's like 10 cities total, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
And it goes probably as far east as Farmersville, I would say, and Princeton over in that area, yeah.
And I asked that question just in case.
Okay, good. Because Wally is the biggest portion of it.
Okay.
Yeah, Wally is like probably half of my constituents live in Wally. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I asked that question because, sometimes when you just say District 89, some people do not know what District 89 is inclusive of. Like, does it include Plano or just Allen? You know what I mean? So
Nevada. I'm sorry. Nevada.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Nevada. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really want to thank you for your time today. And maybe we should do this again so that we can have more issues to talk about before elections.
This is a long, arduous campaign. Yeah. A lot of things coming up. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. So, yeah, let's do this again. We'll talk. Okay.
How about then you tell us your website? Where can people go to get your information?
Where's my card? I always had Rayash for HD89. Rayash, the number 4, HD89.com. All right? That's the website. All right? So.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, everybody that tuned in today.
Do you want me? Did you want me to tell them a little bit about my? Yeah, I just want to let the people, my constituents know, the voters know, that I am a certified public accountant, so I understand budgets and finance, which would help with school finance. All right. I am a tax attorney. All right, which would help with understanding any kind of taxation, both personal taxes and business taxes. Very important, business taxes. Okay. Yeah. All right. I am a native Texan, and being born in Crockett, and lived in Collin County for the last 20 years. So I understand what's going on in Collin County, all right? Yeah. And I'm an Army veteran, so I am a supporter of the Second Amendment, but I understand also that certain weapons don't belong in the hands of civilians. So people need to know that.
Okay. Well, let me say, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
And everybody that is watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this has been Ray Ash, who is running for District 89, Democratic candidate. Please come out and vote, especially minorities.
Oh, yeah. Early voting starts October 22nd, and the last day to vote is November 6th. All right? But I would advise early voting because the lines aren't that long. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in.